Hi, I'm Tami Dacks. I'm here in Toronto, Ontario, Canada. I'm going to talk a little bit about judo. I teach judo at the Annex Judo Academy in downtown Toronto. I used to compete extensively. I, at one point, was the Canadian champion in Masters for -70, and I competed in many, many international competitions.
How Canadian? How Canadian are you?
Justin Trudeau riding a moose drinking Tim Hortons Canadian.
Could you give us a little introduction to judo for people that don't know what it is?
Judo is a Japanese grappling art. It is based on the ancient jiu-jitsu, and it was founded by Professor Jigoro Kano. When he wanted to learn jiu-jitsu to defend himself, he found it very difficult to find somebody to teach it to him because he was very, very small. And everybody said, no, you're too small to do this. He finally found somebody who was a chiropractor, and he took what he learned and transformed it into an art that the small can overcome large by adding their units of strength to the units of strength of their opponent. So you use your opponent's power against them. And it basically looks like wrestling. There's throws, trips, grappling on the ground, there's joint locks, there's choking, and there's hold downs. There's no punching or kicking in the Olympic sport of judo. However, in the original forms of judo, there were striking techniques, temiwaza, but basically we like to tell people that we hit them with the earth.
You are a national champion in the Masters category. What does that mean?
It means it's people over 30 until whenever. In fact, one of the tournaments I was at, they had the men, I think it was, they called them, they were M10s or something. They were 80 years old. And there they were, out on the mat, fighting, and fighting well.
How long have you been practicing judo?
Over 20 years.
Oh, so you didn't start when you were...
No, I started a bit later than a lot of people because I had quite an athletic base. I used to compete in 4 disciplines of dance and figure skating, gymnastics, skiing. And so when I went to my first ever competition, I won. So I started, I can't remember exactly how old I was, maybe 18 or 19. I was just really good at it right away.
X gon' give it to you, he gon' give it to you. X gon' give it to you, he gon' give it to you.
Judo is one of the best sports for kids to practice. But how about people over 40 or 50 years old?
Judo has many different facets to it. It doesn't have to always be that hard fight that people think of when they think of a martial art. It is an excellent sport for people of all ages. And if you have joined an appropriate club with good senseis who know how to modify things for people who are older, it is no problem. We have a lot of people at our dojo who came to the sport in their 40s or even in their 50s. And they don't go too hard, but they push themselves to where they can be. It teaches you wonderful body awareness, keeps your balance. And one thing that a lot of people don't realize is that the falling, like the banging, makes your bones stronger. It actually helps to prevent osteoporosis because it like, you know, the thicker bones, the calcifications, you're just stronger, and it teaches you how to fall. So, you know, you hear all these stories about older people, they fall and they break their hip. Judo, you learn how to fall, so when you fall, you're not going to land on your hip. You're going to automatically land properly. There's been a few times where I've been like thrown off my bike because the tire gets stuck in the streetcar tracks. And I literally went over the handlebars, but I did a roll and I stood up. People were like freaking out around. Like, how did you do that? I'm like, it's judo, baby. And it teaches you, we talk about grit a lot in judo as well. Being able to suck it up and deal with it, physical, emotional, and mental issues through judo, through that effort. You learn this kind of grit. And that's something that we all need to learn, especially as we get older. A lot of people, as they get older, start to feel more helpless and more like sort of meek and feeble. Not our judoka, right? You see these older guys out there. They're confident. They know they can handle any situation, and they're not going to be targets for elder abuse. They're not going to be targets for being mugged on the street because they know that they can handle themselves.
Wow, very interesting. What about the injuries? Do they get injured in judo?
Everybody gets injured doing anything, right? In fact, there are less injuries in judo than you would have, let's say, in tennis. Tennis, you get crazy knee and ankle injuries. There's more maybe bruising, like bruisey type injuries in judo, but the big bad injuries that you hear of in judo, those are from the younger people going to big competitions. Your average person going to the dojo and having some fun, being social and learning a new skill and how to sort of take care of their bodies, they're not going to have those kind of devastating injuries that you hear about from the bigger competitors. You know, maybe they'll sprain a finger or get a bruise or something. But in general, the injuries are not that bad for older people.
What about people that are scared of practicing? Let's say they have limited movement, or they haven't really done any exercise in a very long time, and they're like, "Oh my God, they're gonna throw me against the floor." How do you deal with that? How do you deal with that fear, or with that lack of physical condition?
So any good judo club with properly trained coaches or senseis will address that very easily. First of all, we are not having beginners fighting.
Okay.
Right? Nobody's getting thrown on their first day. That's ridiculous. It's dangerous, and also it's terrifying. It's not normal for somebody just to come up to you, pick you up, and throw you on the ground. It's not normal. That's scary. And that's okay to be scared. It shows that you're all there, you're with it, you know when to be scared. We tell, at least at my dojo, all first timers, we tell them, do what you can, take lots of rests, especially as we do the warm-ups, like the physical conditioning. You know, we don't want anybody to get hurt. We don't want anybody to be scared. And they will generally start learning how to fall long before they're getting thrown. Right, so we pull them aside, somebody goes with them, teaches them just falling from sitting. They're just sitting on their butts and they roll back and they hit the mat with their hands. And we start to build up their confidence just from there. Their first time ever being thrown after they learn how to fall, it's generally from a black belt, not from another beginner doing a crappy throw on them. Right, like we really take care of our students. So it's really important to us.
Tami, you lived in Mexico for a while, and here in Canada, there's a lot of judo dojos, a lot of clubs where you can go and practice, and you have a really great level internationally in judo. But what about Mexico? Do you think it'll be easy for someone that wants to start practicing to find a place where they can join?
I think so. There's a lot of dojos in Mexico, and Mexico actually has some excellent judo, some excellent international players. There's some really wonderful judo around. I lived in Playa del Carmen, so I was practicing with Sensei Humberto Lobato, who himself is a little bit older, and so he knows exactly how to modify for some older people to go and try it out. As well, there's some excellent judo in Mexico City at the UNAM. They have a wonderful program there, as well as in Villahermosa, in Tabasco, with Sensei Marco Pegueros. He has some of the most beautiful judo I've ever seen of anybody in my life. And his sensei is in Oaxaca City, and he is Salvador Hernandez. And he also has amazing, wonderful judo. There's a lot all over the country. You just need to look for it. and make sure that the person that you're going to learn from is actually a black belt that has been teaching for a long time, because you sometimes might get people who might not necessarily have the appropriate credentials to be teaching judo. So just check how long they've been practicing and that they are a black belt, in fact.
Muy bien. Pues esto ha sido Cómo Envejecer con Judo. Estamos con la maestra Tami Dacks haciendo una demostración. Thank you very much, Tami.
You're welcome.
Like the interview?
I did.
Gracias, Envejecer. Hasta la próxima.
Would you like me to throw you right now?
Yes.